Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the full moon that we're going to have on Thursday, January 25th in a nakshatra called Pushya in the sign of Cancer. But before I begin, I would also like to say I will be talking about the sidereal or astronomical placements as used in Vedic astrology. If you're new to this channel, hi! My name is RoseAnna, I'm a Vedic astrologer. Here I talk about planetary transits and new and full moon updates, so if you're interested in that, you can subscribe below. So this full moon will be in the nakshatra Pushya, and that's a nakshatra that fully resides within the watery sign of Cancer. And Pushya actually means nourishment, so it's regarded as one of the most auspicious nakshatras, and it's all about that inner nourishment, how we nourish our inner waters as is shown by the sign of Cancer, but also it's very connected to our our soul nourishment, or rather the spiritual nourishment that we provide ourselves with in our lives. So it's also a very spiritual nakshatra. If we look at the symbols that is linked with this nakshatra, there's actually as many as 4 symbols that is linked with Pushya. And the first and foremost being that of a cow's udder, where it's really a symbol for that nourishing quality of this nakshatra. And the other symbols are a flower and a circle and an arrow. So there's a lot of significance to unpack with the symbols. And while the cow's udder is quite self-explanatory, but also with the flower, there's also the symbol for the potential, that inner potential, our latent qualities, let's say, that are ready to bloom, but also that we are in our life that we're trying to aspire to, or that potential that we feel that we might reach or might aspire to, that higher potential that we are where our ambitions lie, let's say. And this is also in effect shown by the arrow, because the arrow also shows that aim, let's say that spiritual aim, that goal that we have, that we wish to attain in this lifetime, that goal that our soul came here aspiring to fulfill. So this is also in a way shown by when we look at the circle, because the circle is that quality of fulfillment, of the circle being completed. So it doesn't necessarily mean that everything we aspire to, we get to complete within this nakshatra and in general within this lifetime, but it shows that aspiration of seeking that fulfillment. So there's a lot of spiritual significance to be found within these symbols. If we look at the planetary ruler for this nakshatra, that is the planet Saturn. And because we are in the sign of the moon Cancer, there's this combined influence of Saturn and moon's energy here. I also find it very interesting that this is the nakshatra where planet Jupiter, the spiritual teacher, gets exalted, which is interesting in the fact that the deity linked to this nakshatra is 𝗣𝗆𝗄, or the teacher of the gods. But this is also another representation of planet Jupiter, so I find that to be very interesting as well. But more on Saturn and Moon. So because Cancer is the sign of our, I really think of it as the sign of our innermost emotions, like our internal waters. And the moon is this, in a way, very, you might say volatile, but fickle planet that really shows that, you know, the ups and downs and the let's say fickle nature or volatile nature of our emotions, that they're very seldom constant, or there's always the ebb and flow, like the nature of the moon. And in a way, Saturn, as being the ruler of this nakshatra, shows that quality, or rather that necessity of also being able to still those emotions and to quiet down that internal turmoil that might be present in our inner waters. So because like that simile with the water in the pond, and you might be able to see clearly all the way until deep down into the bottom of the pond when the water is still, but when there's wind or waves, you can't see clearly because the reflection disappears and the ability to see all the way to the bottom disappears. So in a way, I really think of it as Saturn being this energy that shows us that necessity of that discipline to also tame, let's say, that volatile nature of the moon and of our inner waters, let's say. So Saturn also has the capacity, even when relating to Jupiter then here, because Jupiter is really that planet that makes us long for that spiritual quest, that makes us want to strive for, take aim for that spiritual, our spiritual goals, and to find a practice. But Saturn is really the planet that shows us the necessity of being like that determination that comes with Saturn, of not just being inspired in the moment, which is easy, speaking from experience here, but also that quality of being able to, you know, just keep going even when we're not as inspired. And perhaps those are really the times when it's most necessary or most important, actually. But usually those are the times when it's most difficult to keep going and to keep at it. But Saturn really shows that necessity of being consistent and being determined in our actions. Practice, like Saturn is the planet of time and karma, so it really shows that the importance of also being having that seriousness when it comes to those things. In any case, this full moon is really beneficial for doing some sort of ritual for yourself, or some sort of devotional practices, meditational practices, whatever you feel is the right way. But in either case, there is really this devotional nature and highly spiritual nature to this full moon. So make use of that and do something that makes you feel inspired and connected, and deepening our spiritual practices in general. Both Saturn and Mars will actually have a little bit of a special impact on this full moon, as Mars by casting a special aspect on the full moon, and Saturn by being in a quite difficult position from the moon, that position of 6 and 8 houses from the moon. So there will be a really, let's say, call for us to go deeper and to really consider our time, our commitment, our practices. And Mars is really the planet, especially as Mars is in Sagittarius right now, where he gets all fired up by our vision, our ideas, our beliefs, those things that really feel meaningful to us. What are we willing to, like, where do we put down the pole? What are we willing to stand up for? So the full moon can really be also a good time to consider all of these things, our ideas, beliefs, and what really, where we spend our time, our energy, what things are we nourishing in our lives, and are we following beliefs and ideas that really feel meaningful, aligned, important. Yeah, so it's really a good time to reflect a little extra on all of those things, perhaps. As usual, I will share my questions for reflection that I wrote for the full moon. The questions I wrote for this full moon were: am I following my higher calling? Do my goals feel aligned with my vision for the future? Am I happy with my spiritual practices, or do I need to reignite my spiritual fire? Am I nourishing the right things in life, the things that I wish to create more of? reflecting on where I am currently on my journey. What is something that I could do that could help me bloom into a higher version of myself? So that was it for this update. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please leave a like or a comment or share the video with someone you believe would appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Happy full moon, guys. Bye!